Yo, what's going on, everyone? Hope you're all doing well. My name is, let me just adjust this mic real quick. My name is Tom from Dreadlabs. I'm a visual artist and graphic designer. It is May 13th, 2025. And what we're going to do today is we're going to create some posters slash album covers slash artwork in the Brutalism style. It's gotten a lot of requests. People like to watch me design these kind of things, so I figured let's do something like that on a live stream for once. That being said, I do have a couple of cool other streams that I want to talk to you about during the stream. So if you're watching live in the chat, say hi and let me know what you think of my ideas. And if you're watching this after, you should be able to comment on YouTube as well, because I read all those comments afterward too. So anyways, I wanted to talk about some random other ideas for live streams that I had while we're designing this, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. But first, let me just switch over to Illustrator, and we're ready to start designing. So the initial idea that I had for this poster was to design a poster for an artist called Chibi Ichigo. She's from Belgium and she does some really cool electropop, and I didn't really know what else to do as a subject for this design, so I figured let's just do something like that. And yeah, basically what we're gonna do first is maybe find some references or maybe some random ideas on Pinterest and then start designing. But there's one little like limit that I wanted to set to myself in this case, and that is I wanted to use my latest asset pack on this. So if you do not know, I just released an asset pack called Dreadlabs Slime Overlays. It's this pack, and basically I want to design some brutalism design that will fit in nicely with these slime overlays. I think they're pretty cool, and I figured if we use the purple one, that also kind of like fits the whole Chibi Ichigo theme, because in Japanese Chibi Ichigo is I think small strawberry. Anyways, yeah, I think we're just gonna search for brutalism design, see if we can find some dope ideas on here. We probably usually do. I like this usage of the font here, even if it's not like the regular brutalism type. It feels a little bit more elegant. But yeah, people in the chat, how are you doing today? Hope you've had a good week so far. I did. I am going to Boiler Room tomorrow, so if I'm feeling a little bit better, because I feel a little bit under the weather, and I hope that once I feel a little bit better that I'll be able to actually go tomorrow. Yeah, I'm really excited to go there. It's kind of like a bucket list thing, you know, ever since I started watching Boiler Room videos, maybe like 8-9 years ago. Would be really cool to just attend one of those parties for myself once. So what I want to do first is I'm gonna just open up the mock-up of the purple slime, so we can kind of like play around with the composition for it. And the reason I am doing this like kind of like the other way around, the reason that I'm starting with like this slime idea first, so let me just do it like this, so that way we can just wait, maybe with a black background. I will paste this into Illustrator, and then we know where we kind of need to build our composition around. And the reason that I'm doing it like this is because I kind of like working with a certain limitation. If you have the possibility to just create anything, if you have the possibility to just start designing anything that you want, anything, what happens is I usually get stuck. So yeah, for me it helps to start working with a certain type of limitation, and in this case I want it to be an album cover as well as a certain like composition limitation that you can see, and that's based around these vector parts of the slime overlays that we're going to use in the end. And later on in the stream, I'm going to show you a little bit more on how the spec functions and how the spec works. But for now, we're just going to see if we can make some cool layouts. So I'm just going to move my Pinterest screen to the side here, and I'll let you know if there's anything notable that I'm looking at to find some inspiration from. But for now, I think we're going to start out with the artist name. And I found some cool fonts like this Wayfinder font I just found today. And I do like the characteristics, and it kind of works for me just like this design here. A nice elegant font, and maybe we can add some characteristics to it to make it a little bit more unique. So let's do exactly that. All right, maybe just put it on its side here. It's a weird anchor point, but okay. Sorry about that. And if you've seen my previous like Illustrator design process videos or live streams, something that I tend to do is just to make a nice grid for myself. And why is this not exactly 3000 by 3000 pixels? I don't know. All right. So what I tend to do is just make a grid and make it like a magenta outline. Oh, not a fill, outline. Use the offset path function to just make like an error margin. I think maybe like 75 is enough. And I'm gonna actually make this like background thing limitation thing to 10%. I don't really want to see it, only like if I really look really good, if that makes sense. So maybe somewhere around here. Anyways, one of the ideas that I had for a future live stream was I want to do more stuff that's like more than just design work. And one of the most fun that I've had in a live stream when I was doing Dreadlabs was like in 2020. I think I didn't even have 10,000 subscribers yet, but yeah, what I did was I did some world building sessions. And if you don't know what world building is, basically world building is you're literally like designing a world, a fantasy world. And the reason why we did this was I wanted to have a fictional world that I could use to start basing design prompts off of, if that makes sense. So the way you need to think about world building is, you know Harry Potter, you know the Harry Potter world. Basically, the Harry Potter world consists of like there's a secret world containing full of wizards, and these wizards they have like they have all of these types of wands, and they have like this school that they go to. It's called Hogwarts, blah blah, and that's the world that like Harry Potter takes place in. So we didn't really think about the characters like Harry Potter, Hermione, Dumbledore. We thought about like how to create a world and which type of rules are there. So does this take place on the planet Earth? In what year does it take place? And we came up with this fictional world called the Andromeda universe and the planet Contra, and there were like illegal raves in like space cities, and it was really cool. Anyways, we came up with this like random world stuff, and I based a clothing brand around it, like a clothing collection even. Actually, the one that I'm wearing right now, like if you can see in the back, I'll show you real quick. So the back of my shirt here, that's a robot that I made in 3D. And it's all based around this fictional story world. Anyways, this is what we just did in a live stream. We came up with some cool ideas. And well, yeah, the basic idea of this was just to start making it easier for yourself to start creating cool stuff. That's all there was to it. and I have this idea for a big video coming up, and I wanted to like I kind of like run this by with you guys. You know, I want to come up with some cool ideas for this, and the concept of the video will actually be I want to design a complete branding for a festival, and I think it's gonna be about Tomorrowland, because like Tomorrowland's like one of those festivals that's just like really good at branding and like, you know, immersing yourself in their fictional story world. So I figured let's do something. Let's see if we can come up with our own edition of Tomorrowland. So it's basically we're gonna think like, okay, if Tomorrowland approached me to design Tomorrowland 2025 or 2026, whatever, I'm gonna need to come up with their visual branding and also with like a stage design and stuff like that. Maybe like the wristbands, the merchandise, stuff like that. So gonna be like quite a big video. So I wanted to do some of that process during my live streams, which is basically the reason why I wanted to do like a concepting session, if that makes sense. Okay, so here we have some room for the title. I think what we can do is, let's see what the I kind of maybe want to do like a large picture of the artist herself right here, and I'm just gonna make sure that we have like nice rounded off increments. So we'll do 1000 by 2000, I think, and we'll just do an offset of 75 pixels, just so we know there's something going to be here in this square right here. And I'm just going to mark that off with a black outline rectangle right here. Maybe a little bit bigger, because these brutalism. So what we can maybe do is add something to the picture. Yeah, I might want to just make this a little bit larger. So maybe we'll just do it around like here. Let's make sure that this also again lines up. Whoa. 2200 and 2200, like that. And we'll scale this thing accordingly. And I want to basically make sure that we keep having these like 75 pixel wide gutters around this around like our whole composition. So that means that we underneath here we'll have like room to add in some stuff. Maybe we'll do like a whole vertical row here. We'll make this black. And we'll just duplicate this over here, and then also just scale it down towards here. All right. And let's see. So in the large, so like the rough sketch of the composition will be this, if that makes sense. Let's just hide this for now. And I might want to keep a space in between here, just because this letter G is like you know, overlapping here a little bit. But now that I look at it, it's also, why is this? Oh wait, this isn't aligned properly. My bad. We need to have this the same width as the text here. So now it makes a little bit more sense. Let's hide the magenta outlines again. Yeah, this should work. And now what we can do is make this a little bit more specific. So this artist, she has like 2 albums out, like one quite long. One of the albums is quite long, and the other one is, well, maybe like 7 or 8 songs, so not the longest album. But I figured like maybe we can yeah, maybe we can just make a compilation album or something like that. That's what the cover will be for. I think if we round these 2 icons off, or at least maybe like these parts right here. Ooh. I'm getting called by a friend of mine. So if we do it like this, I think we can just save some space here for the letter G. And now we can just scale this down and make the Y height a little bit less, like maybe 75. So we'll end up with this grid again, and now it kind of like evens out a little bit more. And maybe just we want to do like 2 of the titles of like of her albums and like make a compilation for it. So one of the albums is called Sabina. And the other one's called Na half 1, which means after 12:30, I think in English. Well, not I think, I'm pretty sure that that's what they mean. Sup, Snorri, Mori, and Olaf. How you guys doing? So maybe we'll just do like a best of compilation or something like that. I think that works a little bit better. That way we don't need to worry about like the length of the title. And I think we can go for a little bit more of a traditional Brutalism font with this. Let's see what we can find that would fit in here. Anyways, like I was saying, I would love to do a live stream where we come up with some concepts of how I would brand Tomorrowland, or how we would brand Tomorrowland. See what else, like the general ideas. They always have like this fake story, and I think I went there in 2015, 10 years ago, Jesus. And yeah, so, and 10 years ago, the theme of Tomorrowland was something with Symphonica, and it was like the Kingdom of Symphonica or something, and like the stage was like a castle, and they had like this king like going around the festival palace, and like everything was branded around that, and it was like really like a classical gothic style, if that makes sense. So I figured maybe I can find some sweet spot between like, I don't know, like psychedelica and technology, and like create a combination of those, and then to make something like that to brand Tomorrowland. But yeah, I wanted to come up with some ideas together with you guys, and like in later live streams, like after we actually get the concept down, we also could like maybe do some parts of the branding or the stage design, so you can see my full process on that, not only in a video but also in a live stream format. Some other cool ideas that I had for other live stream events or other live stream episodes, if that makes sense, is I still have like a big case of Bionicle Legos, and I figured maybe we can just do some Bionicle and chill, where I would just like have my camera from the top down and talk about stuff, talk about life, music and other cool stuff while I'm building a Bionicle robot. That would be cool. I actually recorded a Bionicle and chill already, and this was in my downtime, and I've been hesitant to upload it because I don't really think it fits the channel, but in the live stream format I feel like it fits a little bit better. That would be sick, right? I think maybe I can pull up like the video later. I might have it on my computer here. If it's not on my, I think it's on there. Maybe at the end of the stream I'll show it to you guys. Anyways, some other ideas was just like grabbing my my music gear, or like part of my music gear, and then just like make background music for my streams. Like we're just gonna make some beats and talk about fun stuff. Of course, the design feedback, and I think I had more ideas. Yeah, of course, like learning Touch Designer. You can just yell at me for doing everything wrong in Touch Designer. That would be fun. But yeah, I figured let's do more of like actual design process for bigger projects on live stream, so you won't only see the full process in the videos, but also just in the live stream in general. Does that make sense? Yo, that's actually a great idea. Let me just write that down right now before I forget it. Yo, that's so cool. Bionic tube design. That's going on the board. Just a second. What's up, Delta X? How are you doing? Yeah, I think I just got rid of all of those, and that's such a shame because I've had like maybe 40 of them. So that's kind of a shame. But yeah, what would be cool is to do something like Bionicle, maybe even do toy packaging. You know, I think that's like something that like both of us like kind of like hype over all the time, Mike. Yeah, you could put like the mask. Let me just pull this up right now because I want to feel nostalgic. Yeah, like he could actually. Yeah, you could just like drop the masks on them. Remember that? That was so cool. Here, this one, the first one, I think. Yeah, you could just like drop them in here, and then you have like this rotational part. Man, this takes me back. Press F12. Why? But yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely do some like we'll do a Bionicle and chill, but we'll also do like an actual like modeling of like one of these. I think they were called canisters or something like that, right? Wait, what's that? Look up Alien Stomper. Oh, whoa, that's not aliens. Alien Stomper Reebok package. Yo. Damn, this actually. That's sick. Also, those shoes are actually quite sick as well. Damn, this actually does remind me of Bionicle. Like even the branding of him. Alright, let's get back to the actual poster design because we didn't really make any progress with that. But yeah, let me know if you guys are down and if you have any cool live stream ideas. They don't have to be necessarily graphic design related. We can also just like maybe do a doodle challenge together while you guys join in. While I am like while we're like doodling something in a certain amount of time or something like that, you know, anything's possible really. All right, so I think let's start filling this in now, shall we? So I think this one we're just gonna fill in the image and we'll edit that in Photoshop later. And I think I want to do something like with suns or something like here, that in here, like a pointed sun or something like that. So I'm just gonna make a line in Illustrator, and align is to here. We'll make it a little bit thicker and we'll let it taper the other way around. So we'll click here and I'm gonna go to object, path, add anchor points, and we're gonna do it one more time. And now if we go to distort and transform and zigzag, we can actually make some cool smooth squiggly lines. I think something like this is pretty cool. And now we'll just rotate it. Oh, not that much, but oh yeah, I think Jack, that's awesome, man. I think I've scheduled like one free stream where we can just catch up. What's up, Celine? How are you doing? I don't actually know what you want it to look like. I just go with the flow. So glad to have you on the stream, by the way. But what I usually do is I do have some ideas for a Brutalism poster. And like on the side, I have like I have a second screen where I either have my stream chat, but I also have like some random. I just looked up Brutalism design, and I'm just like sometimes like peeking over there a little bit. Sometimes I just think of like I want to build this around like assets that I've built. But I think you weren't here for that part yet in the stream. But what I usually do when I'm like live streaming, what's he selecting? Oh, the text. Is I try to find some limitations for myself. So in this case, I have like this slime overlay, this thing, and I want it to be part of the composition almost. So I need to kind of like build around it a little bit. So the best of compilation is going to be placed here, and it might be a little bit difficult to read there. So maybe we have to just move it down. So we'll just grab this part. Anyways, like I said, like I wanted to make like limitations for myself. So for me now, the limitations are like composition wise, but sometimes it can also be like I can only use 2 colors, or I can only use, I don't know, shapes that I've already made in my asset packs, or I can also like do something that I do completely from scratch, or I can only use like hand letter stuff, or anyways, like any limitation that I set for myself helps it to become a little bit more easy to start doing something, because otherwise you're just doing, there's just so many options, you know. So I'll just move this down, and then this little bar, it's gonna be like a really little bar. So I might just, because I want to keep that 75 pixel wide line in there, so maybe I'll just, this needs to be like a really small thing. So I might just make like a warning, like diagonal bar of this or something like that, because it's just too small. Wait, never mind, I'm an idiot, because we can just move this bar down, and this bar can be gone. Ooh. And now we could just scale this all the way to this guy, and then just do minus 75 pixels, and now this is a little bit larger, but we still might do like that warning sign bar thingy. We'll see. So I think maybe scale this down a little bit, or maybe even just like scale it down like unproportionally, like this. And then we'll just do the zigzag, we'll make it a little bit less intense maybe. Or wait, I maybe have a better idea. So let me just grab the middle one, delete all of those. And we're gonna go back into the zigzag adjustment, so we'll make it a little bit less, like 7 pixels maybe. So rather than just like copying this thing all the time, we're gonna apply the transform effect to this, and we'll see how we can, if we rotate this, and then we'll just copy this a bunch of times. But then we can also scale this thing. So maybe we can also create some pretty interesting shapes this way, I guess. And that way it will also fit the shield, I guess. So just remove the amount of copies until it's like right around here. Have you ever used PureRef to create mood boards? No, actually not, Valentino. Thank you to have you on stream. Hope you're doing well. Actually never heard of PureRef. What is it? So we have this, and now the question is, if we apply another transform to this, yeah, it does copy like the other transform as well. So you actually can duplicate this and create some really interesting abstract effects, as you can see. But what we're gonna do in this case is gonna just copy and paste this in place. So we now have like two of the same copies in place, and we're just gonna go and open that transform. And rather than doing minus 10 degrees, we'll do 10 degrees. And now we have this like cool little shape. Will this be on your channel later? I might not stay for the live. Others must be. Yeah, sure. That's of course completely fine, and I understand that you don't have time to watch a random graphic designer just create a poster all day. But yeah, I used to think about like putting these on Patreon for exclusive, like the live streams that are exclusive to watch on Patreon. But I figured like I just want to make most people happy, so I'm just gonna keep them on my channel later, so you can just watch it back. But the project files will be available on Patreon if you're interested in that. So let's see if we can just copy this and then just rotate it. Whoa! That wasn't actually the... Huh. Well, dog my cats. That's the cool part about Illustrator. Yo. That's the cool part about these Illustrator transformations. Look at this. And this is also something that we can do in After Effects, and that's probably something that we're going to dive into as well. Maybe not on a live stream, but in some videos to make some psychedelic effects. I actually also do like this one and this one. So what we're going to do is we're just going to expand this by going to Object, Expand Appearance. And then we just rotate the whole thing 180 degrees and move it down like this. This program for creating mood boards very easily. You can look it up. It's free and quite useful. Oh, I might check it out. I used to make, like, when I present mood boards to my clients, I actually use, I just make them in Illustrator myself. Like, I just download stuff from Pinterest and Google Images and archive.org and stuff. But yeah, I do actually like how this turned out, and I might just up the width of all of the boxes here. Maybe to 3 pixels or 3 points. Yeah, I am quite happy with this. So I want to do like a strawberry somewhere. So let me just Google the image of a strawberry. Strawberry. This is why strawberries are red and good for you. BBC Science Focus. I'm not gonna read that. So what we can do is we can either just do image trace, or we can do like trace this with the path or with the pen tool. We are 30 minutes in, or whoa, we're 30 minutes in already. Damn. So I figure maybe we'll just do like a path tracing if we're already this far into the stream. Let's see, preview. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first is just also build a general shape around this. So we have like a stroke. So I do like having like an outline around these like highlighted parts. And then we're gonna expand this thing with like the image trace. That being said, I don't think I want to put on a preview now. Hello. How is this not a preview? This is... Dude. Okay. I'll just paste in a new image. Anyways, we're gonna just use the original image to trace like the outline of the strawberry here. Let's lock the image for now so we don't accidentally like select it. And let's trace this thing. I'm just thinking about like other... I maybe want to do a series where I do like toy packaging or something like that. I remember like I think this was around like 2020, and I don't know if you guys been around like the scene, or you were in the graphic design scene, but a designer that I really miss seeing stuff from is Utaro. I think he was like... I don't know where he's actually from or where he went off to. I think he just like stopped designing or stopped sharing stuff on his Instagram page. But I remember that he once like made these like toy packaging for things for like the ASAP Rocky, and with like the testing branding, which was like super cool to see. And he used to like send some random like images of like most of his works like very inspired by the Zeros. And I think he used to like share a lot of like images from like old toys from the Zeros and stuff like that. And man, maybe I want to do like see if I can do like a case study on it, or create like a giant collaborative mood board with you guys. Oh wait, I was wondering, Mike, like do you want to keep like that Discord server with like the image drive? Do you want to keep it private? If you're still in the chat, by the way, Mike. Because I might just plug it if you want more people to like actually put in stuff. But I can also imagine if you're if you don't want it to become overcrowded or something, like, or you want to curate it yourself. Well, yeah, you basically already have like something like that, like a complete image dump with like toy packaging and food and all kinds of cool stuff. So if there's people in the chat right now that would actually have some cool like toy packagings or toys from the Zeros that are like actually really inspiring, and you want to put it like in the mood board, hit Mike up on Discord. He's also in a Discord server, and he can send you a link to that. Oh, you keep it private for now until it's ready? Oh, sorry. Don't send him a message then. But yeah, it's actually really cool to see like some other people's input. But yeah, I can imagine that you don't want it to be spammed. That's like one thing that I genuinely think is a shame about like moodboarding websites like Pinterest. Is like when I search for something, I mostly end up seeing like Instagram designers replicating a specific style or aesthetic, rather than seeing the actual thing that it's based on, if that makes sense. So if you see like, I don't know, let's say that you just search for toy packaging from the Zeros, you'll get like a graphic designer or someone who like try to design something like it, rather than seeing the actual thing, if that makes sense. And that's a shame. Like for example, most of these Brutalism design pieces that I just like showed you on Instagram, they are probably designed like after the actual style that this is based on, if that makes sense. And the cool part about it is like, yeah, some designers actually do their research well, and you can see that they know what the fundamentals of a certain style is. But definitely like when you see like Y2K inspired work, sometimes you just see people copying each other and they don't actually know what they're doing, which is kind of frustrating. Because that way you'll get like copied trends that weren't actually there when they were, for example, Y2K, when they were actually designing Y2K posters. And you just think that they were there because like there's so many designers copying each other that it almost seems like it was that way. But if that makes sense, like kind of seems like they were changing the past almost that way. If that makes sense. No, you're right. What's up, Noodles? How are you doing? But yeah, Celine, that's exactly what I mean. Like, it doesn't really feel genuine anymore. Like, I don't want to shit on anyone, and nothing against like these designers. But for example, if I search for 90s rave flyer, I can guarantee you that most of the stuff that I'm looking at right now isn't from the 90s. Like, this is literally has 2023 on it. It's not a 90s rave flyer, so it's really, it's not genuine. And this, for example, is because I've seen this in multiple design books and stuff like that. But yeah, this is what I was talking about. Like, I don't want to say that this is an ugly poster or something like that, but you just have to like kind of hope that the designer was understanding the fundamentals of the design style, rather than just copying someone else who designed this, if that makes sense. And that's why when I search for 90s rave flyers or Y2K logos or something like that, I try to really see if it's actually from a certain era, rather than like a designer copying a designer, copying a designer, copying a designer. Because the more stuff gets copied around and like inspired by something else, the less it's becoming the essence of what made that era or that design style. So one way I found to counter this is to simply just buy a lot of books with collections and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it's unfortunate, but it's of course like that. That's just what happens on the internet. If that makes sense. Let's see if we can just put this somewhere where it doesn't really. I think here it's not really like colliding with anything. And let's see. Now from here on, we'll just take 75 pixels away again. And we'll align this one as well. And again, I'm not like saying that any of that is wrong or whatever, but it's just when doing research, it just makes it a little bit harder. Because I'm also definitely guilty of like designing stuff and just doing random stuff, and then that's completely fine, of course, but then it's like a 2025 design rather than like, I don't know, like an actual 90s design, if that makes sense. And what I tend to do, and I don't really do this in like stuff that I make for clients or stuff that I do for Dreadlabs, I just keep this privately, but I do like a lot of like case studies for myself. So I grab like a book for myself. One of my favorite books to do case studies on is this book. Let me just check it real quick. So this book is called Barcelona Rave Flyers. And this book basically, let me just change the camera real quick. So you can see it a little bit better. Now you can see the top view here. So this book basically contains like so much like actual flyers from that era. And something that I really like to do is, let me see if I can actually zoom in on this. Rather than using Pinterest, what I tend to do is scan this in or just like take a really close look at it and try to replicate this the best I can in like Adobe Photoshop or something like that. Yeah, this is that's exactly, you guys are exactly right. That's just what's happening. But for example, what let's something that I've really been studying myself is like ink bleeds. And if we zoom in on this part here, maybe we can even zoom in closer. Now, this is the closest we can get. Maybe I can find a better example. Like, if you really want to make your designs seem like they are from this era, and this is from, let's see if there's a year. This is from 1996, this flyer. So if we zoom in here, and this of course is also has to do with the wearing of the flyer over the years and the quality of the print, but this is also what makes this aesthetic. And what I tend to do is see if I can just recreate the exact like texture or bleed on this for myself, just so I can see if I can actually replicate it in Photoshop, not even for a specific design, but just so I, you know, like I can find what makes that style itself, rather than just following how to make an ink bleed tutorial on YouTube. Because if you follow one of my random ink bleed tutorials, you won't get this result. You need to do this yourself and do like actual like research. And of course, by learning from tutorials gives you a lot of the basics on how to start experimenting with this, but it's a combination of learning and experimenting, I guess, if that makes sense. Anyways, done with my little rant here. Let's continue back with the flyer. But I think these are like interesting topics to talk about. This is also like, I think these are topics that are worth talking about during these live streams. You guys agree? Okay, so let me just duplicate this like loads of times. And we're just gonna delete every other rectangle here. Like this. And now we are going to skew this by going to transform, shear. Oh, we also have the rectangle selected and we don't need that. I think 30 degrees is like fine. If we move it this way, we have a nice little like warning bar over here. Thanks for sharing everything. I have a good evening or day, Celine. Thank you for tuning in. Figuring out the fundamentals of design. Yeah, that's I think one of these my favorite things. Like, and at first this was like figuring out software for me, but now it's just really nice, like cozy up on your computer. You know, put them some like album that you really have been meaning to listen to, or something that you really enjoy listening to, and then just like go and, you know, shut off the rest of the world and start figuring these things out. And that's the best part about like creating digital art, in my opinion. And I recently found that spark again by learning Touch Designer as well. So these are some really fun things that we as designers can do. So I really hasn't know what to do with this, but I actually maybe have something cool that we can do in here, and we can do like a similar texture to these bubbles in here. And maybe a little bit weird because it's like double layered. So I'm not really 100% sure. And we can also just grab in like a really, I think at this point it's just like a gimmicky thing, but we'll just drop in some wireframe graphics. Because why not? I'm just also like thinking of like references in their songs that we can use as well. Oh, this is the wrong asset pack, Tom. We need metal hard essentials, and these should have grids in them. And I wanted to do like number 7 here. And just make all of this black. Like there's so many like the full reason why these wireframes are like so interesting aren't even like they like a lot of people don't even know why or why they make sense or not, and I'm just kind of doing it as well here, so it doesn't really make any sense for me to use it in here, but oh well. It's kind of what I want to do is like she is like this pop singer and she has like these elegant parts, and she also has like really industrial beats inspired by Justice and The Prodigy. So yeah, I like the combination of like fun and quirky and yeah, things like that compared with like the industrial background of her beats and stuff like that. So I figure we can also do like maybe we need to do something in here. Maybe we'll just remove this and we'll make one more like square sized icon in there, and then we'll scale this down and take away 75 pixels from it, from the top or from the bottom, sorry, minus 75. So what we can do now is we can either drop in industrial icon from the industrial icon spec, but I figure maybe we'll do something more elegant, because I have a Ray Flyer Essential spec where we also have like these shapes, and I think here there's some balance in between, like some stuff that seems okay. So I really actually do like this icon for it, because this also kind of reminds me of like early Soviet graphics. And so Chibi has like roots in Uzbekistan, if I'm correct. And this way we can have some industrial icon that also like resembles her heritage a little bit, but also something. Well, it's not really that elegant, but there's a flower in there in the negative space, I guess. Maybe we'll just do like little corners in there as well. So one of these things, if you're a beginner designer and you are actually struggling with these types of posters, there's a little hack that used to help me a lot when I was just starting out, and it's the same hack actually that I've been using when I'm drawing, and that's like the adding more stuff and adding more detail to your composition creates the illusion of it being better. And it's like a kind of like a psychological bias almost. Same as like when you're producing music. People generally tend to prefer the music if it's louder, because in our minds, like psychologically, louder means better. And I'm not sure if there's actually research on this, but there's also like kind of like a bias, I feel like, towards like detailed parts. Like for example, if this is just really empty but really well designed, people tend to think that like the busier, more detailed design is actually better, if that makes sense. So that's pretty interesting. Let me just grab these plus icons in here, and we'll make these a little bit thicker. We'll add some weight to them, just to get a little bit more contrast in there, I guess. And because I think these are not 3, let's see what happens if they're 6. It looks a little bit better, I guess. Oh, this one still needs to be 3, of course. Subtle complexities of the wireframe is what people find interesting. Yeah, I guess so. So what I think, like it's kind of hard because there's not a lot of like actual paper research on this topic, but what I feel like is what made these so abundant in early rave graphics and stuff like that is just the fact that computers started being able to render 3D graphics, and just showing off these low poly models with like the wireframes in them was just a way to see if how they could push their computers to the limit in terms of digital art. And that's why they were using like a lot of these like low poly, low quality 3D renders, like Bryce 3D kind of graphics, if that makes sense. It's really cool. Alright, so I think what we can do with this thing is I am going to make a minus 7.5 offset in here. And let's see if we can just, if we cut this shape out of each other, and then I want to do something in here as well. So I'll just show you guys once I bring this thing into Photoshop. And in this part we need one more thing, and I'm kind of like struggling to think about whatever we should put in here. And I'm just gonna mask this while we're thinking about it some more. Oh, and I did that the wrong way. Let's see. Oh, this rectangle needs to go all the way to the top. And we'll select both of these. We'll select both of these, I said. What? Okay, let's group these guys first. What's happening here? Oh, I didn't make a copy, I think. So I'll just make an outline again. Okay, now it's like it doesn't go over these outlines in here. And I think maybe you want to play a little bit with the weight. So like, should we close this part in or not? Or maybe not. What we can do is like make the zigzag a little bit more subtle, I guess. So we'll select both of these. And we'll go into the zigzag and we'll just change this to... Yeah, that way, like there's no... Like these are still all openings, if that makes sense. Alright, so... That's a good point too. People are also... Yeah, that's true. That's true. That makes me think maybe we'll do like a graph in here. So... We'll just grab the rectangular grid tool. And we'll just add in a bunch of lines. And I think we'll just have the... Maybe just to 1 point, maybe even to like 0.75. That's nice. And what should we put over the graph? Let's see. So in her last album cover, she had these like heart-shaped balloons, which could be interesting. Okay, so I'm actually going to open something off screen. Just gonna, because it's for a client and I cannot really share what I'm doing with it. So I'm just gonna change my camera real quick, because in that project I literally made a heart today. So I'm just gonna grab that real quick and see if we can do something cool with it. What's this? Oh, I'm getting called by client, but I am in a live stream, so I can call back later. Let's see. Let's grab these, grab that heart, copy it, and now we can just go back to my screen without like spoiling what that was for which client and stuff like that. And let's just make it inflate. And this way we can kind of like resemble the balloons that she used for her latest album cover. And we'll rotate it. Why is it not rotating? Oh, here. Maybe I'll just leave it at this, because like the back isn't like, the back's flat. So I can expand this, I guess. Can I even rasterize it and then just like image trace it, I guess? Yeah, this is fine, I guess. And then let's see if we can use the transform filter to just like make a bunch of copies and show them in random places. So I'm gonna move it vertically up a little bit more than 100 pixels. Make a couple of copies, maybe a little bit to the left here. So I don't know what the random actually does in here, but I feel like it should be working. And now what we can do is just expand these, and we can just rotate these freely if we ungroup them. So that way we have a little bit more control, because I want to have them like kind of like actual balloons, I guess. If they were a bunch of balloons, if that makes sense. What if you warp the graph to make it look like a 3D heart? Ooh, that is also a very good thing. So what I can do actually is that's actually a super cool idea. Let me just see if we can inflate it again, and then we can expand it as wireframe. So that's not the exact way we want to do it, but maybe if we extrude it or something. Or wait, maybe if we inflate it, and it's a weird way to expand it as wireframes. What we can do is do like the classic 3D, I guess. And then we'll just rotate this. This doesn't make any sense. We should probably do it in the way that we're actually just doing it. So maybe revolving is wait, what if we just take half? We'll just delete this part, and we'll revolve it around the right edge. Okay, this doesn't really look like a heart now. It's like a peach. Okay, so we'll just extrude it then, and then we can cap it, I think, right? Ah, yeah. Round this off, yep. And now maybe a little bit smaller that way. Yeah, I still have a lot to learn about this 3D function actually. I tend to just do everything in Cinema 4D, so I loved how, well, okay, so it's not really expanding the is it like, what's rendering now? Oh my god, I just keep getting cold. That's okay. I have no clue how we can export this as a wireframe inside Illustrator without like it being all weird. So let me just go back to object, inflate, and see what happens if we expand it now. So okay, so I'm just gonna rotate it to like the 0 position again. So boop, boop, boop. Inflate it, and now we're gonna expand it as wireframes. And what I think is we can also just like add some lines in here manually, right? Like this. And finally some vertical lines, and then we should be good to go. Maybe I'll just delete this middle one. Just make sure that there's a line that we can use the reflect tool on once we're finished with these lines. Yeah, this kind of like this is where you kind of need that 3D software if you want to do this properly, because I have no clue how to line these up properly. Anyways, I figured this should just do the trick, and we'll just drop this in rather than these hearts right here. We'll group this and just make a copy and then fill it in and flatten it, so we have like a figure that we can use it to punch out everything. So I'm gonna just make this red and drop to the background, bring it to the front, rotate a little bit and align it to our grid like that. And what I'm going to do now is grab this grid, expand by going to object, path, outline stroke. This is now a filled stroke. I'm going to also convert it to a compound path, and that way what we can do is grab the red heart shape and punch this out, and that way we have like this nice little 3D grid thing punched out of here. Alright, so I think we're ready to drop this into Photoshop now. So I'm just gonna make this part invisible and save this. We'll go to the live streams folder, and I think this is the third theme, so yeah, I'm correct. I'll just make this layout, and I'm gonna make a new document from 3000 by 3000 pixels, make a black background, and then place in this embedded layout thing that we just made in Adobe Illustrator. And if I do this, I always use crop to media box, and that way you cannot really see it, but that way everything will all be placed the same way as our artboard in Adobe Illustrator. So I'm just gonna make this maybe like a magenta, like a hyper, yeah, something like this. I think works really well. I'm just gonna look for Chibi Ichigo. Let's see if we have a cool image that we can use from her. So this is from her latest. You can actually get Ichigo from Bleach as well. Yeah, here you can see her with like the balloons from that shoot from her. This is her second album. This was the yellow ones from the first album. Reviewing your design in live next time. I think the next live stream will be catching up with Jack from Studio AAA, but he's just sent me a date, so we might need to change it up. But there's a new design review live stream coming very, very soon. Is this large enough? I do like this picture, it's pretty cool. So we'll just paste that in here, and we'll scale this towards here and mask this out. And then we will... Ik ben aan het livestreamen. Geeft niks. So we'll just make a mask of the photo, and it's really low quality, but that doesn't really matter because I have some ideas on what we can do with this. We'll move the picture down just a little bit. Yeah, there was someone at my door, my girlfriend. So we'll add some filters to this, and the first one we want to do is add some grain in here, and then maybe like some color halftone. That way you can maybe find some cool... No, it's a little bit less detail, I feel like. So can we just make it 4 maybe, and then let's see what this looks like. I might just do like a different effect on here. So we'll just go back to the filter gallery and we'll stack a couple of filters on top of each other. Maybe like the stamp effect, it can be some pretty cool things. Oh, I think my colors are inversed, so I need to go back and change this. So go to the stamp filter again. Why is this inverted? Let me just redo this. Wait. Why is it inverted? Come on, guys. There we go. And we'll just make the grain a lot less, like this. And now we have some pretty cool effect in here. Let's add some noise to make like some smaller like grain in there. And what I tend to do is, because like this noise is so small that if you zoom out the artwork you don't really see it anymore. So we'll go to pixelate, mosaic, and if we just up the size we can just double the size of these noise pixels. That makes sense. What's up, Lucas? How are you doing, man? And we'll go to the final effect, which is the threshold filter, which finishes this off. And I think somewhere like here is pretty cool. And finally, we'll add in a gradient map. And we'll map the white colors of this thing to the same magenta. If possible. We'll just grab it this way, so we'll just do this. So remove the layer mask. Oh. And now we have this nice little brutalism effect here, or the duotone. And the final thing that I wanted to do here, before we drop it into the 3D or in our mockup from the slime overlays, is I want to make a selection here. And we're gonna create some fake liquid, if that makes sense. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make a new layer, and we'll group this, and we'll put a mask on this group. That way we can just basically create anything that we want, and it'll be how'd you say, already masked inside that part here. This effect makes human look ugly. I mean, like it's supposed to be like a super grainy, dark, dirty effect, I guess. Like it's supposed to be like a photocopy effect. Linear, let's fit to the document and reset the alignment, and we'll just copy this mask over here. And why is it still not visible? Oh wait, the scale set to 1000. My bad. But still, why is this so dark? Oh wait, yeah, the gradient map is of course only, it still needs to only affect this photo. Now we are cooking. So we'll increase the size of this gradient here so it will fit in the whole length of this thing. Oh, so maybe we still do need it at 1000, but then we'll make it this way. And what we can do is, I still have some image texture somewhere of droplets. if I'm correct. Let's see, other, that's right here. And I keep always using this as like an overlay for stuff like this. You get like this kind of like reactive, like tube, if that makes sense. So with a multiply filter on top of this, and now we'll add in a noise layer. So we'll make a 50% gray filter, and we'll add in a nice little grain, not a film grain, but a normal grain, and we'll make this clumped, so it's a little bit larger. We'll remove the saturation, so now we have a black and white clumped grain layer. And let's see which blend mode this should fit in best. Usually something like here, hard light is pretty okay, I guess. And now if we threshold this, oh yeah, the thing is, of course, now we need this to be white. Yeah. And now we have this like nice little reactive tube thingy. The thing is, however, the grain is not really responding well enough to the gradient. So what I want to do is turn this into a smart object and just add noise to this thing, like this way. And as you can see, adding noise to like a threshold image just gives a lot more gradient in there, like this. I feel like I am going to rotate this around to 90 degrees. I know what's wrong. So again, I'm going to go in here. Or like, there's nothing really wrong with it, but I want to make sure that like there's a shadow over this like layout in here. That makes sense. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this, remove the fill, so this is now basically an invisible part here, and I'm just going to add in a drop shadow and put the mode to dissolve. Maybe like an inner shadow, that's probably better. Oh wait, no, not an inner shadow because it's not in the inner parts. I think something like this probably already works pretty well. That way you can still see some contrast in at the top here. Now you can get that like illusion of depth a little bit better, if that makes sense. And for the noise, again, let's just pixelate this noise as well. So we'll do this with mosaic, and we'll just do maybe 2 maybe. And now looking back at your comment when allowed, I might just change it a little bit with the filter gallery here. It adds maybe a little bit too much grain, so we'll change the stamp maybe to torn edges. Maybe a little bit too white. There's too much white right now. Let's see. So yeah, the photocopy is a little bit too much. Maybe if we remove the grain, yeah, it's a little bit too white now. I think with the torn edges, we may be able to find like a cool spot. I'll just keep the torn edges for now and see what else is out there. Maybe the graphic pen also has some cool effects, like a really noisy part. Maybe we'll do this also in the vertical way, since like most of the composition also goes in a vertical manner. So what do you guys think? This one or this one? I'm leaning towards the torn edges one, to be honest. So I'll just click OK here. If you really want the other one, let me know in the comments or let me know in the chat. But yeah, this is now probably, yeah, we're pretty much like done here. So I'll just turn this into pre-final. It's a little bit more mysterious now since there's like a lot more shadow and darkness in there, and the really big clumped grain is gone too. It's kind of sad that this is not really lining up that well. So what we may be able to do is it possible to oh wait, no, I don't think so. If we add in a stroke, the same color on the center, does that ruin the whole design or not? Oh, it does light up a lot of it, I guess. So what we can do is we'll just have one version where we remove the stroke, and I think we're gonna only have the stroke visible here. Yeah, we're only gonna make it visible where the hard wireframe thing is, so like this. Okay, so now we only have this part where there's only like the color overlay, and this part is only where like this little hard wireframe thing has some extra stroke on it to make it a little bit better visible. And let's save this up. So now we're gonna go back to the slime mockup here. So I'm just gonna copy a version of this and drop it to the live streams folder. Final, we'll call this. And this is the final slime mockup. So this is actually a project file from my latest asset pack. The link will be down in the description. These are called the slime overlays. And what we can do here is we'll remove this dark layer. So this is the way you receive this pack. And as you can see, there's like some blurriness behind the slime over here. These are all hand sketched and turned into 3D slime objects. So we're gonna double click in here. And we're simply gonna drag and drop in the design that we just made, the pre-final one, like this. We'll press save. And we add some depth to our composition, and sadly we made it just so that the head of Chibi is not apparent exactly where I wanted it to be, so that's kind of a shame. We're gonna fix that in a minute. Let's gonna change the hue of the slider, maybe to like either more purple or to match it a little bit better. I think maybe like something like this is actually better, like make it a little bit more white, have some contrast in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the pre-final and we're gonna move her around just a little bit. Where is it? Oh, the mask is still in here. Okay. So I'm just gonna make the mask again. And we're gonna just unlink this mask, and now we can scale this thing freely without bothering. And I think if we place her here. Oh, this is actually, this is a little bit better. Thank you so much, Gradius. Pretty happy with this result actually. So what I still want to do is, because it's a little bit flat still, is I want to texture this some more. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to grab some paper textures from the Dreadlabs Ray Flyer Essentials. Where are they? Here. Paper textures. Like some subtle photocopy texture should probably do the trick. Drop these in, scale them up. And we'll do one multiply and one screen. So this is a little bit intense, so we'll just lower this. This kind of works. And we'll do like a multiply one, and we'll make this a lot lighter so that it doesn't really remove all of the brightness from our image. All right, and let's blur and make this thing like a little bit less sharp. So the first thing we're going to do is add a box blur of 1 pixel, and by double clicking on here we'll change the opacity to 50%. Then we'll do like a Gaussian blur of 1 pixel, and we'll change the blend mode of that to screen, or not screen, to lighten, to keep the color. And maybe we'll just make it 2. And now we have like a little ink bleed, so it's a little bit more of a natural bleed around the edge, so it doesn't look as sharp. And finally, what we're gonna do is add a really subtle wave distortion. And add 15 generators with a wavelength of -1 and max 2. And I think if we just put these to 25%, this is still a little bit too much. So let's see what we can fix here. Maybe we'll do these. It's always like a little bit hard to see in the preview window how this works. It would actually be really cool, like a plugin where you can actually properly see the waves. So maybe... this is, I think, the way that I wanted this to go. Let's make this a little bit higher. Okay, now we can actually see what's happening. We'll turn this to 5 and this to 30. Maybe like 2 and 30, and then we'll just up the generators. Now it's pretty wobbly, and now we'll just change this back to maybe like 5%, so it's really subtle. And now these lines aren't really that straight anymore, as you can see. Alright, that's the whole thing. I'm kind of hesitant on these textures though. Maybe we'll just remove these and we'll do like a subtle noise texture. So we'll just go to the Metal Hard Essentials, and we'll add some subtle grain textures. I like the cardboard grain here. And I can just simply put this to screen and this one to multiply immediately. And as you can see, this adds a lot more subtlety to the texture here. And I think this fits the aesthetic a little bit better than photocopy. So let's save this up. And yeah, this looks a lot better. So now maybe we'll add in some more. And also do like complete inverted like green. That's actually pretty sick. Like a better contrast. Maybe like blue. Yeah, I actually like this. I'm pretty happy with this. So, how long have we been streaming for? Like 90 minutes so far. It's a longer stream than I'm used to. Teal or green? Let's go over to teal one more time. I feel like the green pops off a little bit better than the teal, to be honest. Like I think around here would probably be best. But teal works well too, but it's a little bit more subtle, but I really like that contrast between these two colors. So this is the final result. Really happy with this actually, and it felt fun to do like a live stream where I'm designing again, because it's been quite a while since I've been actually designing something on a live stream where I didn't feel like burned out, and yeah, kind of I used to do this and then just felt really tired, or I didn't really know what to make, and I've felt it a little bit during the beginning of the stream, but in the end, once I started going, I actually felt, okay, we're actually going somewhere now. So I'm quite happy with the result. There's probably a lot that I would still change in post, but given that this is only made in 90 minutes, I'm quite happy with the result. So like I said, if you want to get any of these packs, the slime overlay in particular is just the latest asset pack that's available now on my website. It's available for $5 now, and the price is going to $7.50. I think by the end of this week or by the end of this month. So it's still on sale now because it's just launched. So if you want to get this for yourself, the link is in the description down below. Just like all of the texture packs that I used, as well as a lot of the vector shapes that I use in Illustrator. Any freebies? So there is a video coming up where I am giving away a freebie. It's going to be a 3D render, but it's not in this one, sadly. But I am thinking of doing a couple of more freebie asset packs in the near future, and it will be exclusive for everyone on Discord. So if you have any suggestions as to what you would like to see as a freebie, let me know on Discord or in the comments down below or in the chat right now, and I will see if I can make it happen. The file of this project in particular, you can find that on my Patreon channel. The link for that will also be in the description. And by downloading this Patreon file, you'll actually also get access to all of the textures and mockups and all of the assets that I used in this live stream. So if you want to get like particular parts by becoming a member of the Dreadlabs Insiders group on Patreon, you will get access to those without having to buy all of those assets. And coincidentally, all of my Patreon members get a 15% discount in my asset web store. So if you want to get any of the assets after you played around with them as a Patreon member, you'll also get a discount on those as well. So I think I've plugged enough. With all of that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today and watching me live stream. Again, if you have some suggestions for videos or live stream ideas in the future, we're definitely gonna catch up with Jack from Studio AAA soon, as well as doing a Bionicle and Chill episode. Maybe we're gonna also browse through all of my design books. I think that also might be a little bit fun to do some inspiration. And like I said in the beginning of the stream, we're gonna do some concepting for a complete festival branding. So yeah, with all of that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this. I do live stream on a weekly basis now from 4 p.m. CET to at least 5 p.m. CET on every Thursday. So be sure to be there next week again. We're gonna do a lot of cool stuff in the upcoming live streams, like I said. With all of that being said, this is Tom from Dreadlabs. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. And now I'm actually done plugging. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video or live stream. Bye bye.